Do you think that the curse of the pharaohs is real? Let me tell you a story about an evil spirit that punishes everyone who dares to disturb its peace. It is said that if you steal something from a tomb, the gods will make you suffer. What the weirdest thing is that science cannot explain what happened to those who violated the pharaoh's eternal rest. There are many rumors and theories, but we don't know for sure. Maybe it's better not to dig into other people's secrets, especially if they have been dead for thousands of years. Hi everyone, welcome to this channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the most mysterious secrets of the ancient Egyptians that even modern science couldn't explain. Everyone knows that archaeologists find amazing things in Egypt every now and then, like lost tombs or artifacts that help them learn more about ancient culture. Recently, they found a mummy that was covered in gold leaf. Scientists were shocked by this because it's one of only 3 mummies like this that still exist today. The rest are in museums. They say that the golden mummy might have belonged to a priestess named Kemet, but we don't know for sure, since she wasn't a pharaoh. So, does this mean that the curse of the pharaohs is real? Well, let's find out together. What are the most mysterious secrets of the ancient Egyptians? How did the first pharaohs come to power? The legend says that Egypt became part of the Old Kingdom around 3000 BC, when King Minos united the Upper and Lower Kingdoms. But nobody knows for sure how this great leader came to power. After his death, the capital moved to Memphis, and the kings began taking the title of pharaoh. Each pharaoh believed he was chosen by Ra, the god of the sun. This gave them absolute power, but also made them responsible for keeping the kingdom in balance. That's why many pharaohs built giant tombs so their bodies could keep watch over Egypt even after they died. Why didn't the ancient Egyptians use coffins? As we all know, the ancient Egyptians kept their dead for a very long time, sometimes even worshipping them as gods. To preserve these remains, they used special methods to dehydrate their bodies, which was called mummification. Then they wrapped the bodies in bandages and put them in stone tombs. But how did scientists find out how to make mummies? You may think that this was a secret that was lost a long time ago. But no, in the royal tombs, they found detailed instructions on how to turn a person into a mummy. These instructions were written down in hieroglyphs, and some believe they hold magical powers. But there is another theory that says that the ancient Egyptians learned how to make mummies from the people of Mesopotamia. These people lived in present-day Iraq and Syria, and they made their own mummies as early as 2500 BC, however. Despite these similarities, archaeologists believe that each civilization had its own unique way of making mummies. But we may never know for sure. The 2 sides of the Great Sphinx. Archaeologists recently made a shocking discovery while scanning the Great Sphinx with special equipment. They noticed that the monument may have originally had a human face instead of a lion's head. Some historians think that it was built in the image of the pharaoh Kafir, but others disagree. However, there is one thing we know for sure. This discovery raises more questions than it answers. Who decided to build it, and how did they manage to move those huge blocks of stone without any tools? Fortunately, we don't have the answer to these questions yet. But perhaps one day we will find the key to unraveling the mystery of the Sphinx. What if the pyramids weren't tombs at all? For a long time, scientists believed that the pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs. However, recently, researchers have started to question this long-held belief. They have proposed an alternative theory that suggests that the pyramids were actually temples dedicated to the gods. According to this theory, the Egyptians built the pyramids to honor the gods and to serve as places of worship rather than burial chambers. The evidence for this theory is based on the fact that the interiors of the pyramids are much simpler than the Egyptians' other burial chambers. Additionally, the chamber's layout doesn't correspond to the traditional beliefs surrounding death and the afterlife. Instead, it aligns with the design of other temples in Egypt. Furthermore, the construction techniques used in building the pyramids are similar to those employed in building temples. Instead of using T-shaped stone blocks as they did in their other tombs, the Egyptians used large stones with flat surfaces to build the pyramids. These features suggest that the pyramids were intended to be used as temples for religious ceremonies, rather than serving as tombs for the pharaohs. If this theory is true, it would revolutionize our understanding of ancient Egypt and the role of religion in their society. But we need more evidence to confirm or deny this fascinating hypothesis. The Curse of the Pharaohs. Have you ever heard of the Curse of the Pharaohs? Legend has it that anyone who disturbs the eternal rest of the pharaohs will be punished by the gods. This story dates back thousands of years when the first explorers dared to enter the tombs of the ancient rulers. One of the most famous legends is about Napoleon Bonaparte, who once decided to open the coffin of the pharaoh. Soon after, he fell gravely ill. Another story involves a British officer named Howard Weiss, who allegedly stole the mask of the cursed Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Shortly after, he developed a strange disease and soon died. These stories have led many people to believe that the curse of the pharaohs is real and that anyone who disturbs their graves will suffer terrible consequences. But is there any truth to these tales? Well, there is evidence to support both sides of the argument. On one hand, there are countless stories of explorers and archaeologists who have experienced strange and unexplained events after entering the tombs of pharaohs. On the other hand, skeptics argue that these stories are nothing but myths and legends spread to scare off treasure hunters and keep them away from the ancient sites. They claim that any misfortunes that have befallen explorers are nothing more than coincidences. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether you believe in the curse of the pharaohs or not. Who do you think is buried inside the Great Pyramid? Let us know in the comments. Did King Khufu really rest in the biggest pyramid? Some believe he did, but others say he was just a pharaoh in name only. This means that the mysterious ruler may not have been related to the royal family and had no right to the throne. This idea is supported by the fact that his tomb is different from those of other pharaohs. While most rulers' tombs are decorated with colorful paintings, his is almost completely bare. Also, the ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaoh was a god on earth, and his body should be preserved and perfect, conditioned to ensure his safe passage to the afterlife. However, researchers noticed that his skeleton was in a very bad state when they discovered it. It seemed like bugs and rodents had been eating his bones. This is even more surprising since his tomb was sealed with heavy stones. It's unclear how bugs and rodents could have gotten inside. All of these mysteries leave us with more questions than answers. We may never know for sure who's buried in the Great Pyramid. How did the Egyptians get so good at making mummies? Even today, scientists are amazed by the skill and precision with which the ancient Egyptians made mummies. The process of mummification was extremely complex and time-consuming, involving over 70 steps. It was a highly skilled profession, and only a few people were trained in this art form. But what's truly remarkable is that even after thousands of years, many mummies have remained remarkably intact. In fact, unwrapping some of the mummies has revealed that they were in almost perfect condition. This raises an interesting question. How did the ancient Egyptians achieve such high levels of craftsmanship and preservation? Was there a secret technique or knowledge that has been lost to time? Or was it just the dedication and skill of the ancient craftsmen? We may never know the answer to this question, but it's a testament to the ingenuity and skill of the ancient Egyptians. The mystery of the intact mummy. The story of an unbreakable mummy. Archaeologists were stunned to discover that some mummies remained perfectly intact. Despite being hundreds or even thousands of years old, this mummy was found in excellent condition, complete with skin, hair, fingernails, and even internal organs. The secret behind the incredible preservation of the mummy lies in the natural mummification process that occurred due to the dry and arid climate of the Egyptian desert. This process is known as natron mummification, which involves the use of a naturally occurring salt called natron to dehydrate and preserve the body. Unlike traditional mummification, which involved removing internal organs and wrapping the body in bandages, the natron mummification process left the body intact and fully preserved. This ancient mummy serves as a reminder of the fascinating history and traditions of ancient Egypt and the incredible lengths to which people went to preserve the bodies of their loved ones. The last pharaoh. When the Persians invaded Egypt in the 6th century BC, they took the pharaoh's power away. But Egypt didn't stay under Persian rule for long. Alexander the Great conquered it in 332 BC, but he didn't live long enough to see the whole country. After he died, his friend Ptolemy I took over Egypt and became the first ruler of the Greek dynasty. The Greeks ruled Egypt for 300 years, but eventually Cleopatra, the last pharaoh, lost her kingdom to Rome. So the era of the pharaohs came to an end. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit the like button and share your ideas in the comments. See you next time.